Hi everyone! In previous videos in my 12 months of motivational crafting series, we're focused on using the files I'm sharing with our electronic cutting machines like a Cricut or Silhouette Cameo. This month we're going to look at filling the shape with digital pattern paper. In this video I am focusing on using Affinity 3, but I will also show how you can pattern fill in Silhouette Studio and Cricut Design Space in their own dedicated videos. So look out for those over the next week or so. So let's get started. I've already gone ahead and opened up a page in Affinity. I'm in the vector persona, and the first thing we need to do is load up our SVG file, which you can either do under File or use the Place tool on the menu bar. And with it loaded, I'll just make it a bit bigger. Now, if I select my file and I come over to my tool menu and select the fill tool, you'll see when I go up to the top menu bar, the type is greyed out, and this is because it's an SVG file. It is still possible to edit it and add a fill. We just need to do it in a slightly different way. We can edit our SVG by double clicking on it, and a new tab will open called Embedded, and you'll see just the actual SVG file rather than the whole page around it. I want to fill my image with the same pattern throughout, so I'll select the top level in the layers panel, but you could, if you wanted to, expand the layers and select individual elements. If I click on the fill tool, and this time you'll see the type option is now active, and from the drop down list I'll select bitmap. And in Affinity, bitmap just means an image-based fill, like PNG or JPEG files that you may be more used to. I'll go to my folder where my pattern files are saved, and today I'll show you two. One that has the brighter fill and the other more muted, so you can see the difference and then how we can adjust that further. Let's start with the daisies, and I'll double click on it and you can see it automatically fills the image, but you can adjust it, and this is what these bars on the screen are for. So if I hold my left mouse button down over the circle where the two arms meet, I can drag it around and reposition the image. And you can move it around until you get it how you want it to be. But what you can also do is, if we select one of the circles at the end of the arms, then you can resize it. And mine are resizing proportionally, as I have maintain aspect ratio selected from the options on the top menu bar. We can also use these arms to rotate the image, simply by holding down one of them and moving your mouse around. So you have quite a lot of flexibility in adjusting the pattern fill and where it's going to sit within your design. Then when we click over to the original tab, you can see the image has updated from the plain black fill we started with. I'll drag this one over to the side so I can bring in another copy of the original file. And if I click on the embedded window that is already open, you'll see that this still relates to the first one that we changed. So if you do want to go back in and edit it further, you can simply by selecting the tab. But as before, we will double click on the second version and you'll see that a new embedded tab opens up. With it selected in the layers panel, we can repeat the steps of selecting the fill tool, bitmap from the type, and this time I'll choose the sunflower image with the more muted tones. I'll make some adjustments and go back to the main page so we can then see a side-by-side comparison. You can instantly see that the first one looks a lot clearer and obviously brighter due to the colours of the image used, but there is a way we can make the characters stand out more and give them more definition. So if I click back into the embedded window for the second one we changed, and with it selected, we can look to increase the thickness or weight of the outline of the characters. So let's increase the thickness using the slide bar that's on the top menu, and straight away you can see a difference it makes. Then we can also change the colour. On the top here you'll see we've got two icons. The first is the fill colour or the pattern, and then we have the outline. And you could pick one of the swatches, but what you can also do is, if we click on the little dropper tool Whilst holding down the left mouse button, we can drag it onto our image, and as we move it around, it picks out colours that are included in the image. And if you look at the little circle next to the dropper tool, as we move it around, that colour changes. And once you release your mouse, it stays on that colour. And if you don't like it, then you can simply drag the dropper over again and select another. So let's go for a darker brown rather than black, because sometimes black looks a little bit fierce. And again, we can make some adjustments to the width of the outline. Then when we go back to the main screen, you can see how much more defined this looks. And as that one is more defined, the original one doesn't look quite so bright. So let's change that one too. I'll use black to start with, and you can see how that changes it. Now again, we could select a colour using the dropper tool again, but there aren't as many colours in this image, so we don't have quite so many to work with. Personally, I prefer the black. I'll just adjust the width slightly. And so you can see how the combination of the pattern fill and the outline, if you add one, can change the image again quite a lot. And if you wanted to then resize your image, it will resize everything proportionally as it's fixed within the confines of the characters. Thanks for watching, and I hope this has given you some ideas on how you can personalise an SVG file using pattern fills. You'll find links to download the free files from my Ko-fi page or Facebook group in the description below. Bye for now.